Linda McAvan, Labour MEP for Yorkshire and the Humber. News that there's a 4-year jail sentence for fraud for the PIP founder. He'll also have to pay a fine of £63,000. What's your reaction?
I think it's a good day for justice. Here's a guy running a company who deliberately put material meant for mattresses into implants for women's bodies. It was a disgrace, and he deserves everything he gets.
This case raised and highlighted a broader range of problems with implants, not just breast implants, a range of implants. What differences have now been agreed here by the European Parliament that, if they're backed by ministers, could avoid cases like this for the future?
Now, what the French company did was clearly criminal, but what it highlighted was a number of loopholes in current laws. For example, when the company was inspected, they got several weeks' notice that the inspectors were coming, so they were able to hide all the industrial silicone and put the medical silicone back on display. We also found that millions of women didn't even know what kind of transplant implants they had. So they knew they had an implant, but we didn't know who had the PIP implants. That will change now, and each implant will carry a unique identifier, and you'll get a card telling you what implant you've had. So that's a big change.
You spent a lot of work looking at this legislation and pushing for some of these details. It was backed by the European Parliament, negotiations still ongoing though with ministers. How confident are you that this will now all become law soon?
Well, negotiations have started with ministers. I think they should have a sense of urgency, because we've had the breast implant scandal. Then we had the hip implant scandal, which wasn't about criminality. It was actually about a failure of the system to spot a fault. Lots of people having faulty hip implants, even though the system had picked up there were problems. So we need to get a sense of urgency about this, and I would like us to get an agreement this side of the European elections, which means before May.
And just finally, to return to the starting point, really, the fact that there has been a criminal prosecution followed through, how welcome is that for you? How near does that become to getting justice for women in Yorkshire that have found that they have these implants?
I think the women will certainly welcome the fact that somebody is going to pay for what they did in prison. But at the same time, of course, those women have been left scarred. Some of them still haven't been able to have the implants removed, and lots of uncertainties. So this company caused an awful lot of problems, and what we can do now is change things for the future and make sure that these kind of problems, as much as we can, never arise again because of loopholes in the law. You can never stop criminals entirely, but you can close the loopholes so that criminals find it much harder to operate.